y'all. Happy
Friday.
I thought it was Friday.
Friday.
There we go.
Erica, remember your Friday earrings?
It's Friday. I still have them.
Yes.
Erica, you still
Damn,
have
Friday.
you
I
still
did.
have island vibes.
I know.
I don't even know
Do you?
if you could hit that Friday right now. You're so chill.
She's so chill and glowy.
Friday, man.
Yeah.
There we go. That is what's up. My name is Al Jackson. You guys are watching Daytime Talk After Dark. I'm here with Jeff Schroeder, Erica Cobb, Sam Shocker. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about a little bit of this kind of story went from, I guess, sad to weird. But I think it represents a lot of people's families when there is a loss. Talking about Twitch, who was famously on Do You Think You Can Dance or So You Think You Can Dance? So You Think You Can Dance, and then became Ellen's DJ.
Right.
And really just beloved by America. I think that's a very fair statement. He sadly passed away, and his wife, Allison Hoker, who I believe he met on the show So You Think You Can Dance, has since alienated fans, and it seems like Twitch's family. She kind of basically said that he was a drug addict, and she found a stash and just really personal stuff for a guy that whose memory is all we have at this point. And the story has unfolded more. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where she made his family sign NDAs in order to attend the funeral, and has forbidden them to write anything or any type of memoir about him.
Why?
Because she wants to collect all of the money or anything that is written about him.
How does she have that power, though? Did she sign that? Like, was that a contract she signed when they got married? That doesn't make any sense.
I believe so. The way that I'm understanding the story is that he had an open casket. And I believe that the prevailing pretense of the NDA at the time was that anyone who was viewing his body would have to sign in order to ensure that they wouldn't take photos or share, those things. And so that's how it was presented at the time. And now it appears that it's deeper than that. And a lot of his family and friends are speaking out about it now.
Yeah.
It seems like she's
sneaky.
not. Yeah. From what I'm seeing, because she might have good intentions. I don't know. This is me just trying to look at the other
Doesn't sound like
side.
it.
No.
Exactly. So here's my point. She's not involving any of the family from what I see. And that's where it leads to people feeling icky, right? If something were to happen to me, I would hope that my husband, and I could bet my life on it, he would immediately be involved with my mom, my sister. What do you think Sam would like? I think Sam would like this. What do you think for this for Sam? How do we do this for her? The fact that she's so separate from his family and they were surprised by what she had planned and they were completely clueless about it. If that were my son, I don't know if his mom is still in the picture,
Yes,
but if that was my family member and I was completely ostracized from any sort of way to honor my loved one, I would have really big feelings.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm feeling icky. It doesn't seem like that she's involving everyone that loved him.
Well,
And I could be wrong.
Here's the thing. Because, I'm going to take it from the side of being a funeral director's daughter.
Yes.
Because I have seen and heard a lot of things in the past 25 years. And most of them have nothing to do with me and my family, but it's just scenarios that come up, which is the reason why my husband and I opted to do our estate planning years ago, because we don't have direct beneficiaries. We didn't, and our families are in different countries. It could create a very dicey dynamic should something terrible happen. Let me knock on wood. But I think what is the missing piece here for me, but that I don't understand, is what was the dynamics of the relationship when he was still alive with his family?
Good question.
So I could see if there were, and I do not know, I'm just pontificating based on knowing that things do get very hairy when people, one, pass away suddenly, and two, don't necessarily have an estate planned and a directive. So was the situation that they were estranged in some way? Are some of the people who might be speaking up or were forced to sign NDAs people who he had created distance from because perhaps there was some situation of, utilizing him for their own personal gain? Like, these are things that come up, and I'm not saying this specifically to this family. It's just these are the things that come up when people pass away. So it doesn't look great on her. I hate the fact that we're talking about this with a woman who, regardless of the situation, her husband unalived himself and she has their children. Right. And that is a lot. Like, I do not like the feeling of this, but it doesn't necessarily bode well for her and what this comes across looking like based on what the family's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
Jeff,
think that's where my opinion's coming from the family. And, and I know there's two sides to every story and then there's the truth, but man, you have a whole family that's just feeling completely left out from their loved ones' memories or future planning.
Yeah, where it gets just straight out for me is like, you guys aren't going to profit from his death, only I am. That's what it seems like to me.
The People magazine interview.
Even now, she's saying no one else could do anything. But what if someone, a documentarian, wants to come up to you, like the mother, and be like, "Hey, I was such a fan of Twitch. I just want to highlight his life in this documentary. Will you help be a part of it? I'll compensate you for your time." You can't do that because she owns the rights to his death story. That seems a little icky. It probably goes deeper, like Erica said, but on the surface, that's what I see.
I mean, that seems to be what it is, and I think, we look at these celebrity stories, but they often really just kind of mirror and reflect what happens in our lives.
So true.
And when somebody passes away, and Erica, you've talked about like when Big Mama goes, or somebody, the grandfather that had a great amount of money, or mother, like that's when the real personalities show up. And I think a lot of times it could be, I'm Twitch's wife, and hey, mom, and how you doing? And here are your grandkids. And when Twitch is no longer there, sometimes the representative goes away, and the real version of that person shows up when they feel unencumbered because they feel no allegiance to this person that's now past family. They see their family as just another outsider trying to get a hold of Twitch's money, and she sees that as her money now. And don't forget, often in this situation, the leverage that is used isn't so much lawyers and money, it's access to your grandkids. And that is just, and I'm not saying she's doing that in this situation.
You're saying generally.
I hope we're missing something.
I hope we're missing something
we're
too.
talking about this story
Because
for the second
she did defend herself. I should just add that context. She did defend herself. After the People magazine article interview came out, she said that Twitch would have wanted that. He would have wanted to share his story to help other people. That's what she claims.
Well, why didn't he? He was a famous person. He could have shared that at any point.
Yeah, and the way it was done, again, if it were more of I think she could have still touched on an area to help people without exposing his deepest, darkest secrets.
But a story like that doesn't get written without those deep, dark
but I think
secrets.
what's also has people very up in arms is the fact that a toxicology report was done on him. And drugs weren't found in his system.
Wow.
So it begs the question, how deep in drug addiction
if they're not in your system.
If it wasn't in his system at the time of death. And so
that's a great point.
It's a very, because here's the thing. I'm just going to keep it all the way 100. Heaven forbid something happened to someone in my family, and the person that they married decided to do this. I'm just gonna be honest. I would have a hard time keeping my hands off that heifer. I really would.
Right.
That's why the family.
I really would.
I know. Can you imagine?
I'm talking about it from the idea of, I understand how these things go because I've seen a lot of stories and heard a lot of things because of my father's industry. But it would take me everything everything to keep my hands off that girl. It really
Seriously.
would. And so I understand, like, I get it, because what's the purpose really? Because ultimately we're talking about a book, so it's a memoir. And of course they're going to take the most salacious headline, but for that to come out, it was almost like it came out in a way that, like, it was almost as shocking as, I mean, not as shocking clearly as when we learned of his untimely death, but it was that type of shock. Like, there was no preparation for it. Like, what'd she say?
Yeah.
Like, it was very shocking to hear that come out of her mouth, because you would think that she would want to protect
His
the legacy.
especially when you have kids, Erica.
And especially
And
when
so-
there's been no history of it.
And all of his friends, his closest friends have said, what she's saying doesn't make sense. That's not the Twitch we knew. So it's like, one thing, let's say he was completely disenfranchised from his family. I'm not saying he was, but your core friends are then your family. And if both of these entities are saying, this doesn't feel right, this isn't Twitch, then that is what helps me kind of like form my opinion, which I hate doing, to your point, because it feels weird. But again, if that were my family member, oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope it's a weird thing where I would like to see how this resolves itself, but there's a bigger part of me that hopes that I never hear about this again.
Me too.
I don't think that we're supposed to know about this. Twitch was not somebody, as far as I know, that publicly dealt with drugs and alcohol. So I feel weird, like all of you, about that being the primary basis for all the discussions about him post-mortem. So we'll leave it there, but it does highlight a bigger fact, and that is incentive for us, even when you're younger. Jeff, I know you were close with your wife's family, etc., but just having everything written out,
I got to
just
do that.
cuts
I do
out a
too. I haven't
lot
done
of
that
that
either.
tension, because you'll be like in heaven somewhere, like, why is my cousin Lester saying he gets half my stuff? Like, people will come out of the woodwork. And so the best way to protect your family, and I feel silly saying this in front of Erica, but is to really lock down everything, because unfortunately it leads to things like this. So
Well, and so many people don't want to do it. Like, we got our estate plan before my parents got their estate planned. And that was the catalyst to getting them to do it. Cause I'm like, just logically, y'all, like, if we did it, I think you can do it. And a big part of it too is, like, what people don't understand. It's like, they don't necessarily want people to know, like, okay, I don't want to cause any problems. I don't want people to think that, like, I love this person more than, there's whatever your reasons are for making your decisions are your reasons. But let me tell you, it is all hate and probate. So if you do not do this, then the state steps in, and now all of your assets are being held up in a situation that can really put your family in a very precarious spot. And it costs money, and you're draining the estate. And there's all of these things that are just so unnecessary to just sit down with an attorney and say, this is what we have and this is what we want.
And this is the last I'll say about it, but you were never too young to do this, even though I'm hypocritical for saying this because I have not done it. But and I haven't shared this with you guys, but I lost my college roommate last week. The genesis for me going into medicine, my buddy, Dr. Adisa Jones, beyond my buddy, my good friend, I went to Brown with him. He met a goofy kid from Cleveland, and by example, showed me that I could go into medicine and excel at an Ivy League school. And it's, he passed away at 47 years old. He's a physician,
I'm so sorry.
with children. And it's just, it's as somebody that's lost several friends due to natural causes. I had a buddy that passed away from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I think that's the lethal one. They're both obviously cancer, but one is really, really bad. I lost him at 37. Both his parents were physicians. So life is unpredictable, both good and bad. And this is the uncomfortable part, but this is the grown-up part. And Erica, I appreciate you kind of being the template for just being like, hey, get this together and don't let some lawyer who has no feeling for you carve up your assets, because that could just that could get ugly. Let's do the positive version of this story, because we're going to talk about the inauguration. Some will see it as a positive, some will see it as a negative. So let's talk about who is going to perform at the inauguration. Carrie Underwood, American Idol winner, season 3.
Maybe.
I just guessed that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Remember
how
know.
big
Yeah, I don't
American
know.
Idol was? She won
Yeah,
it
that
when
was
she was
season
huge.
2.
huge.
That was huge.
Kelly Clarkson was season 1.
She might have been 2.
Yeah. Well, she's huge.
And she's still huge.
She's a
and
bona
Who
fide
was
star.
maybe 2? Who was the bigger guy?
Ruben Studdard.
Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken. Wasn't
Yes,
that 2?
maybe it
I
was. So
thought-
maybe she was 3.
Maybe she was 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Okay.
can't believe I remembered that.
I
Remember
loved
Ruben?
Ruben.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The Velvet Teddy Bear.
Yes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was.
Right. I think it was.
Paula
Who knows? We might be
loved
wrong.
him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
So what if this just went into an American Idol? You remember?
What's so weird?
A
I never
moment like
thought about that
Yes.
forever.
Yeah. So Carrie Underwood is performing at the inauguration. A lot of people are like, great. A lot of people are throwing hate. Jeff, what do you think about a performer choosing to or not choosing to perform at an inauguration?
I was shocked when I heard this, to be honest with you, because sometimes when you get to a certain level of stardom, you don't want to mess around in politics because it could bring you down. Other people choose to involve themselves in politics because they feel like it's their need or whatever. I don't like entertainment getting into politics. That was always my opinion. But for
I'm like,
Carrie
have you looked
Underwood,
at politicians? The president was on The Apprentice.
well, you're making a statement when you do
Right.
something like that. In today's day and age, if you asked me that a couple of years ago, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to perform for the president. Now it comes with such weight and career-ending things. But now the country, I guess, is balanced or off balance. But in the past, it'd be such an honor to play for the president, right?
In the
If you're
past,
like,
yeah.
In the past, like, hey, the president wants you to play for him. You'd be like, oh my God, he wants to see, I'm there. You know what I mean? Now it's like a signal. You're saying something depending on which presidential candidate you're vying for, which I hopefully is I hope people just start getting back into that old philosophy. Like, listen, this is our president. It's already voted on. This is what we're doing. And I'm going to perform for him. And that's our president. And I love our country. That's the way I hope this is going. And it's not making that political statement that we all
And that's what
know.
she said once she got a lot of pushback. And I'm not saying she should or shouldn't have gotten pushback. But she did say exactly what Jeff is saying, that this is an honor for her and it's historical, and she wants to bring the country together. She's focused on unity. And she thinks by her being there, because she has such a diverse fan base,
Does
that
she?
that's what she says in her thing, So
Can
I mean,
you
I
be
think
focused on unity when you have a president that ran, by his accounts, a divisive campaign?
I don't know. I'm just regurgitating her, but that's a
Yeah.
good question.
Well, how
say
do
that
you guys
again.
feel about it?
Yes, say that question again.
Can she? Of course, she can take the stance that I want there to be unity. I can agree with that, but Trump's strategy was divide.
Right.
The last rally he threw in Madison Square Garden referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island
Right.
of garbage. So that was the strategy. It was an effective strategy. But then can you, as a performer, say, I'm doing this because I'm all for unity?
It's a good question.
Do you feel like she should just be able to say, I like Trump, or check cleared? Either one.
Yeah, I think when you want to do something and you want to do it bad enough, you can justify it however you want to do that.
Should she have to justify it?
No, I don't think anybody has to justify anything for any reason, and just deal with whatever the fallout may or may not be. I wasn't particularly shocked by this.
I wasn't.
I didn't.
I don't know why.
I was like, people are like,
'cause
I
people-
can't believe, and I was like, and water's wet. What are we talking
And
about
hasn't
here?
she kind of alluded to in the past?
I don't know. It just seemed very
Well, can I-
like
can I
on
ask
brand
you
to me. I don't know.
If this shocked you, Erica, and then I'm going to get you too, Jeff, that the Village people are also going to perform.
Why? MCA.
That's right. That's Trump's song.
Is it?
YMCA is
Yeah,
his
he
like when I hear
loves
YMCA,
YMCA.
I think about him.
Yeah,
Are they all with us?
Well,
That's a good
I haven't
question.
kept
I don't
up
know.
with the band, Erica, but I'm assuming we probably lost one or two.
Well,
Yeah, I
no,
think a
I'm
couple
just
of them,
wondering,
yeah.
like, is this like for the most part, just a cover band at this point? I don't know. I'm really not. No, I'm
No,
really
a lot
not
of
up
those
to
bands
speed
they only
on
have like
my.
one more like original member.
Yeah,
so yeah, I
I'm
know.
really not up to speed on my Village People.
Is
I
it
don't
odd that he is
know.
the Village People when are the Village People like isn't at least YMCA more of like a gay anthem?
Yes.
And
How many original members of the Village People are alive?
it's no secret
I'm
that
gonna say 3 out of 4.
it's no secret that there are. I mean, Biden passed protections
There's
like
one left.
Okay.
Willis,
those
to
are
date, Willis is the only original member still remaining with
Is
the
he the
group.
construction worker?
So
I don't know
that's
who
just
Willis
a person.
is. I'm thinking
It's
of
the village
different
person.
strokes.
the village person.
Yeah, and and look, just because
That's funny, but it's
It's not like- so Trump's having the village person play at his.
it's not. May
Dude,
they rest.
there was 6 of
May
them.
they rest. But I'll tell you, the other 5 are rolling right now. Like, what you doing, William? Is
Willis.
what's his name?
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
and Willis might be like, "Hey, check cleared."
Yeah,
You know,
right.
at
Hey,
the end of
Willis.
the day,
But again, in his time, I don't know. It was an honor to play for the president. There wasn't that back and forth. It's like you're playing for the president. That was like a thing. And when did that fall off? This last term or this last? Did Trump do that or? I don't know because I was never into politics. And I just thought being part of that was an honor.
I think
you know?
it changed. The first time I remember us even kind of talking about this was on DBL when, remember, there were, even when Trump would just have a rally, there would be artists saying, "You do not have permission to play my song
Yes.
when you come up to the stage." And the Village People, I think, initially spoke out, but as I looked through the article for this, what they were saying is, or what he was saying, was that Trump loving YMCA, Trump has a huge base. And so his base embraced that song and brought that song back from just like, I don't know, a song
Weddings.
you do at bingo.
Wedding.
It's still only playing at weddings.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
they're playing it in the nightclubs.
No,
Like,
but they're playing it at Trump rallies and they all downloaded it. I'm sure they noticed a bump in sales. I'm sure. So, I mean, look, and that was kind of his point. He was like, look, this dude brought my song, dusted it off, and gave it back to the country, and now it's getting played again. And he wants me to play at the inauguration, and I'm gonna be there. So I don't know if I got beef with that. It's not what I would choose, but I'm not being asked. He is, and he has the right to cash that check. And I say, go for it.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
The way you described it, like, hey, man, I get to go to the White House. I had a great run. This is kind of my last thing. And when you put it in terms like that, it seems like a nice thing. And maybe we need this for the country. I understand how people feel. But again, I just want to get back to like, he's our president now. We have to move forward. He can't run again. Let's try to unify it in some way. And if it's through music and with older people, the Village People, maybe with people our age, Carrie Underwood. I don't know. Maybe it's a step forward, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I believe you with what you're saying, Jeff. And I now want to transition to something that's kind of unbelievable. And I want to get your opinion on this because, not to bury the lead, but this is a story about somebody getting scammed. But at what point do you kind of not feel sorry for this person? So let me kind of set the table. There's a woman who
Man,
was
this is such a good
scammed.
story. I have to escape. I don't want you to get into it, but I have to escape.
You have to leave now?
Well, I have to pick up my daughter and
At what?
7:30, and it
It's-
takes 40 minutes to get home.
Well, it's not even, you got
Okay,
49 minutes.
I have 9 minutes.
You have 9 minutes. We got
Okay.
6 minutes to go, and
Okay.
you've wasted 20 seconds of it. Why
Okay,
don't you
go.
All
Sorry.
Why?
Yeah, no. All right,
Okay,
we'll
go.
get to you first so you can dive over the couch and barrel roll to your car.
And you're going to have to put your shoes on. 'cause
Yeah.
You're just
You
barefoot
don't look
on
like
the
you're ready to
couch.
go at all.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. By the way, like when you, I have to hurry up after that 9 minute. Okay. It's on me now. Okay, so a woman was scammed. She was married at the time. She was also 53.
Okay.
This was not a 90-year-old woman that might have been like a little out of it. A 53-year-old married woman was scammed out of a significant, I think it might have been in pounds, but I think it was like 830,000.
How'd she have that
Yeah.
much money? She was rich?
Yes, Sam. That's what people that have 830,000 to send to a fake Brad Pitt account. They are probably rich. Yes, but yes, that's her.
Wait,
Is that a
And-
fake Brad Pitt?
Yes,
Yeah,
look at that.
it's
Look
like
at that AI generated face.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt had convinced Pitt, that's in air quotes, had convinced this woman.
She
that
looks a
they-
little bit like Brad Pitt.
She does a
That
little
must
bit.
be, that's a sign of narcissism. When you're attracted to people that look like you, that's a sign of narcissism.
Well, I
And
mean,
he wrote on a note and love you, and that convinced her.
Oh man, that guy. Because she was like, "Well, if you're really Brad Pitt, write it down." And then they just put that AI prompt in, and she was like, "Done, son."
God.
Wait, is this I gotta
That's
look
an
at
AI
this.
filter
Look at
on
that
his
middle
face.
one. It looks like I did that on my phone.
Yes.
On the top?
I think the one top left is ridiculous, and we will show this picture.
Why is he in the,
The
hospital?
top middle one looks like someone
So
cut
that
it out
was the whole
and
ruse
glued it.
that
Wait.
he was in the hospital.
She thought she was the only person in the world that knew he was in the hospital and needed help
That he needed money.
because no one else knew he was in the hospital.
No, just her. Well, they're in
'Cause
a relationship.
She could have Googled Brad Pitt hospital or Brad Pitt, where is he right now?
Why would she do that when he wrote and love you?
Yeah, and you can also just say like,
that one?
Dude, those
that's
are
just
bad.
doctors working on him. Yes, and it looks like Dick Clark is having a surgery done on him. It does not look like him. Some of the AIs are worse than the others. But
Yeah.
okay, so we are giggling in here. Erica, you got Island Girl energy, so I want to see if you can apply it to this story.
Oh my gosh.
I
Do
was
you
gonna
feel
say-
sorry for this woman?
I was gonna say that I feel sorry for her husband because not only was she trying to date someone else,
she's
she's
married.
married.
Yes, you
Not
he
only
said
was
that
she
3
trying to
times.
like have
Sorry,
an
I was looking at your
affair,
socks.
but I don't know where the money came from. But if they're married, it is community property, and you just gave someone $1 million to try to cheat on me. I think not. But then again, I don't know if I can even feel bad for the husband because, Brad, you married her. You knew she was, two fries short of a Happy Meal.
Right.
Yeah.
Sam, do you feel sorry for this woman that was scammed? She was scammed. She was up to no good, but she was
She
scammed.
should have. First of all, a lot of people get scammed by these celebrities, which is crazy to me. Apparently, there's a whole thing on Instagram where like a fake Keanu Reeves or a fake Brad Pitt will write people and say, usually they'll say like, this is for my charity or whatever it may be. And she's not unique in this situation.
I think the amount of money.
Yeah, I
is
think
what
that's
it
what-
is,
Yes,
but
the amount of money is insane. I don't feel bad for her. I feel bad for the husband. I'm with Erica.
That's
That-
great. Yeah.
I just started watching this show. I can't remember. Maria something. She's the host. And I just started watching it. I wish I knew the name because it's so good. She did 3 seasons. But season 1, she goes down to the Bahamas, speaking of like island. And it's a big thing down there. Like scam. It's called like going on the phones. I forgot what it's called. But they interview the real people. She does like narco stuff and gets in the jungle with the real people. This one was about like scamming.
It's Maria Menounos?
No. It's something
No.
Maria something. I
It's not
wish I knew
Maria
the name.
Menounos.
No, not Maria Menounos. It's some other lady. It's really
She
fascinating.
is fine.
She is.
I think she
It's
started working
so
for
high.
Vice.
Like I cannot.
I can't even look at Maria Menounos.
I just had to say that
I
she
know.
is like the finest
Okay.
person. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, the whole thing about scamming that I was getting at, because I just watched this, was loneliness. They're like, the people scam like old ladies and it's despicable and stuff, but they all say the same thing. It's loneliness.
This
They
isn't that. This isn't loneliness. This is I want Brad Pitt.
I think there's some loneliness involved too. They just call people, these scammers, and they're like, you want a free Mercedes. They just call people, and it has nothing to do with the Mercedes. They're just lonely.
You hear what the
and they
UK is
want
doing
like
to
a
that?
story to tell.
You know what the UK is doing to that?
What?
They have, she's called Granny Bot, but the scammers don't know it. And it's AI to string along the scammers to waste their time.
Oh,
So
I
they're-
love that.
So they're
on my-
not,
yeah.
so they're not scamming people. So they have a bunch of these granny bots that are, and it's so funny. You can go on YouTube and watch their reactions because there's been like kind of like inside editions in the UK that cover it, and they will film the scammer getting frustrated.
Right.
Because granny bot will be like, "How do you do www?" And you can see the scammer getting so frustrated by their subject, not knowing that it's just artificial intelligence.
There's one that I follow on Instagram. I know Sam's got to go. There's one I follow on Instagram, and this happens in India, and the guy's like really smart. And he takes money from the scammers. It's
amazing.
So they put money into this account, and he goes, "So what do I do now?" He's acting all dumb.
Yeah.
And he took and he pressed the button. The scammer. He took $500 from the scammer, and the guy in India, he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You ruined my life. You don't understand what you just did." He's
reversed it.
screaming, and the guys are laughing. He took $500 from the scammer. That guy might be dead right now. Like he lost $500 in India, but it's like. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reversal.
There's one where the guy, he's like a tech genius, and he goes to the scammers and he takes control of their camera in the office. And so if Jeff's the scammer, they'll
Didn't
be like,
we have him on the show?
Amazing.
no, I don't, maybe. And he's
I
like,
thought
oh,
we
you with the
did.
backwards hat. Are you the one that's trying to get
we
me?
had him on the show.
And they're like,
Did?
what are you
I don't
doing,
think I was
sir?
there
So,
that
I mean,
day.
there
That's
is
rad.
a little
I love
vigil.
that.
There's
That's called
vigilante
Don't
justice.
Start None, Won't Be None.
Yeah.
Oh, like the box that has the camera in
Erica
it.
with
and then they
all
open
her
it, they steal the
sayings.
packages, and it blows up, and there's a camera of them. That's my favorite.
The best.
Well, with that said, I will say that one good news finishing up with this story is that when I hope the husband divorces her, but he now has justification to divorce and she doesn't get anything in the separation.
You don't know that.
It's infidelity.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that you automatically
Look
don't
at
have
that
your
picture of the top middle.
have your assets
it's the
split.
worst.
Haven't you ever heard of a no-fault divorce, even when there's infidelity? It doesn't matter in some places.
That's like a cropped image from one of his films.
I'm just going.
That one looks like he lost and cut out with scissors and put it on there.
There's no hair.
And love you. All right. So,
And on behalf of AI Brad, Jeff, Erica, and Sam, who is putting on her spinster boots.
What's that?
Those are
that's not even the right foot.
we appreciate you guys
it's not.
tuning in. You know how
Your
we do on
what are
Fridays.
those,
We
socks
always have
with
fun.
soles?
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place. See y'all.
Bye.